settings, display and security, screen timeout, 10 minutes. So let's go to the camera here. And look at that. See, there I am. What's going on? How you doing? So because the camera's right there, you can do the self-portrait thing pretty easily, which really kind of begs for video chat, don't you think? But that's a terrible picture. Look at that. Or you can, flip the camera around, and then you can use it to take pictures of, here, Droid, let's take a picture of the Devour. There it is. And then you can rotate it, obviously. So I just think that's kind of neat, kind of handy. And, again, I'd love to see a video chat app, a robust video chat app with a design like this. That would be very cool. On the Devour, you've got the keyboard in a more traditional, the camera in a more traditional place, obviously. So if we go home here, we hit camera. Camera's on the back. It's actually kind of easy to cover up. You kind of have to hold the phone by the frame there, otherwise you accidentally cover up the camera back there. So a little bit of a nod on the camera functionality of the backflip. Also, what's kind of cool about the backflip is after you've taken your photos and your videos and you want to look at them, you can use the backflip's hinge to prop it up on the table, kind of that way. Or you can turn around that way, although it's not auto orienting itself, not flipping the screen around. But just kind of neat that you can do that, a little more functionality. It's not a big enough screen that I think you're really going to be watching a lot of videos on it or anything like that. But it is kind of cool. And I do believe there's a setting. Yes, when you have the phone on the home screen, you kind of bend it back far enough. Although I seem to have lost it now. As far as the phones themselves go, both are 3G, Wi-Fi, micro SD card slot, GPS, Bluetooth, all that good stuff. The Devour runs Android 1.6 out of the box, whereas the Backflip runs Android 1.5 for some reason. As far as the apps that come on the phone, this is where it's kind of interesting. Both have some carrier-specific apps. You can see on the Droid over here on the left, you got VCast Music with Rhapsody, your Sync app, VCast Videos, VZ Navigator, that kind of thing. On the right, you've got a bunch of AT&T stuff. They put all sport GPS on there, AT&T Music, Navigator, AT&T Radio, AT&T Wi-Fi hotspot, etc., etc., etc. The thing that's kind of interesting and potentially a drag, though, is that AT&T removed all references to Google from the Backflip. So if I want to add a widget to the home screen, and I want to add search. So I add search on the Devour, and I get the Google search widget, right? I add search on the Backflip, and I get the Yahoo search widget. And you can't change that. You can't install the Google search widget on the Backflip. I mean, you probably could if you rooted the phone or what have you, but just out of the box, sort of standard consumer land there, it's all Yahoo on this phone. And beyond that, you also can't install non-Android market apps on the Backflip. So AT&T kind of went to great pains to customize the Google off of the Backflip, which I think has a lot to do potentially with their relationships with Yahoo and perhaps more importantly with AT&T, with Apple, with the whole Apple-Google feud, which we won't get into here. You can read about that on PhoneDog if you're interested. But anyway, so just to note, when you get the voice search on the Devour. Oh, connection issue. All right. Well, you get voice search on the Devour. You don't get voice search on the Backflip with the Yahoo search widget. So that's kind of a drag on the Backflip. Otherwise, again, very similar, 3.5mm headphone jacks. The camera's going over 5 megapixel, capacitive touchscreen, all that kind of stuff. In addition to the form factor, the construction a little bit different. The Backflip is about 50 grams lighter than the Devour. Weighs, I believe, 133 grams. The Devour is about 180 with the battery installed. The Backflip is plasticky. It's not cheap, it's kind of nice looking and everything, but it's definitely plasticky. The Devour is made from a piece of, or it's more than one, but it's got this aluminum unibody construction. So it's metal, it's solid, you know, it's heavier, but it feels very kind of luxurious in the hand. It's got this neat little thing where kind of laptop style. There's one tab panel that you undo there, and you got access to your battery and your micro SD card, all kind of tucked away there, which is kind of neat. You've got these nice, you know, grippy rubber finish end cap thingies on the phone. That's pretty professional technical language, right? Grippy rubber finish end cap thingies, but you get the idea. This rubber trim, which is nice for gripping. It's just a bigger phone, you know, bigger and angular, and even the headphone jack kind of protrudes from the back there. So, you know, it just kind of depends if you like that styling and you like the extra bulk, or if you prefer something that's a little bit lighter and not that much thinner, but certainly narrower and shorter in the Backflip. Performance-wise, there's definitely an edge to the Devour here. We'll launch the browser on both phones, and you can see the browser just loaded up much faster, just in terms of the app launching on the Devour than on the Backflip. The Backflip just suffers from a little tiny bit of a lag problem. You saw it there. We'll go to what's the same app on both? Calendar. We'll go to Calendar on both, and you can see again, you know, in all cases, the Devour just launches a little bit faster. Hopefully that's something that AT&T and Motorola can get fixed on the Backflip, the lag issues, before the 2.1 upgrade comes out, because you'd like to see just the current version of the device, you know, performing up to snuff here. I think they both have Quick Office installed. Let's on Quick Office. It's a little bit of a bigger app. And you can see, you know, it's not a deal killer on the Backflip, but just, you know, a little bit of a noticeable lag on the Backflip as compared to the Devour. All right, so all in all, you know, like we showed, they're very similar devices in terms of functionality. Form obviously a little bit different, but even still, they're not really, you know, all that different. One of the biggest differences is you get Android 1.6 on the Devour, only 1.5 on the Backflip, but very similar with the Moto Blur functionality, and most consumers probably won't even know, you know, they probably won't even know it's Android running. They'll just see the Moto Blur, let alone which is 1.5, 1.6. So it comes down to more, you know, performance kind of similar. I think the Devour performs a little bit better, a little bit less lag. The lag on the Backflip, you know, notable and a little bit of an issue, opening apps and moving back and forth and that kind of thing. But the styling and the form factor are quite different. And for me, I much prefer the Backflip's styling and form factor. It's smaller, it's easier to pocket, it's a little lighter weight, and I like that a little bit better. I also, because the keyboard's so big, the Devour has a very good keyboard, especially compared to the Droid. I think it's much easier to use, much more tactile. The keys, you know, the action on the keys is a little more pronounced, easier to type on for me. But Backflip's keyboard, you know, it's nice and big and roomy, and once I got used to it, it worked pretty well for me. And I like the versatility of the Flip. I also, even though I didn't use the D-pads too much on either phone, I like the backtrack, as they call it, the D-pad on Backflip much better. Once I got used to it, it was actually kind of handy. Whereas the D-pad on the Devour, the optical D-pad down here in the corner, you know, it's fine. It's just very small, so I didn't use it all that often. But it is, you know, when you have the phone opened up, as long as you're right-handed and your right thumb's on it, it's fine. If you're a lefty, you're kind of in trouble. But the Backflip, I found it, you know, just the styling. I don't know if I'd want to see every smartphone in the world built this way, but I think it's kind of neat. And I found it pretty useful once I got used to it, like I said, as just much more pocketable. So for me, I'm going to go form over function a little bit here. I'm going to pick the Backflip as my winner, even though I'm saying that with the caveat that I think for a lot of you, the Devour will be the winner. So, you know, really, what am I saying? Two winners? I don't know. I think my preference would be Backflip. I think if I had to recommend one, I would go with Devour for most of the people out there, because it's a little bit more of a solid performer at this point, less lag. The styling is very cool, even if it is a little bit bulky and heavy. So, you know, there you go. It really comes down to personal preference. Also, of course, the Click XT now out on T-Mobile. They already had the Click with a, you know, it's kind of like the Backflip, but it slides instead of flips with the full QWERTY. And then the Click XT is just a touchscreen, no keyboard on that one. The thing is on Motorola, if you're looking at the Devour, the Droid, not very much more expensive at this point, especially if you don't buy through Verizon, you might be able to get it for the same price. and you get a much larger, higher res display, which a lot of you will like. Also, you get Android 2.0, which has the newer user interface, and also the turn-by-turn navigation, which is huge. So if you're looking at Devour, you really should look at the Droid. For me, Droid's keyboard I don't like so much. I know a lot of you are like, dude, get over it, it's fine. So there you go. Anyway, hope that helps. I'm keeping the Backflip for myself. Y'all can have the Droid. No, I'm kidding. I don't get to keep either one. Thanks to Motorola, the folks at Motorola, AT&T, and Verizon for sending these phones out. Much more coverage on the Backflip, the Droid, like I said, the Click and the Click XT, the Droid itself. Did I call this the Droid? The Devour, sorry. And the Droid, and whatever else comes down the pike from Motorola, Verizon, AT&T, and the other carriers. Everybody else, we got you covered over on PhoneDog.com and, of course, DroidDog.com for your in-depth Android needs. Till next time, I'm Noah. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be out in the desert. Las Vegas CKA Spring 2010 starts next week, Monday, March, what is that, 22nd? I think that's March 22nd. I'll be out there. We'll all be out there starting on the 22nd. Show kicks off on the 23rd. So stay tuned for all kinds of stuff, new phones, news, all kinds of goodness from Las Vegas. Till then, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.